Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome. This week, as you can see from the title, I want to bring you guys a build video because creating some videos aren't the only thing that I do. And this time around, it's going to be another thing that's in my Total Drama Island save. I'm going to build a house for Heather, Beth, and Lindsay. And yeah, I used some reference pictures for this house that I found online. It's like a 5-something bedroom house. It's huge. The way that I have it laid out is 3 bedrooms, but you could honestly probably make it more than that if you wanted because it is so massive. It is going to be 3 levels. There's the ground level, a basement, and an upper level. The ground level is where I'm going to put Heather's bedroom. The basement is where I'm going to put Lindsay's room, and then the upper level is where I'm going to put Beth's room. The reference picture that I'm using is for a sort of like southwestern modern style house, so that's sort of the vibe that we're going for. Obviously this isn't going to be one-to-one to the reference pictures. I'll put them up on the screen as we go along, but it's going to be the closest that I can do, obviously, because, well, this is The Sims. Oh yeah, and I don't always use the hotkeys while I'm playing, so don't at me. And the porches that I just made, I end up closing them in later. That's my bad. I wasn't paying attention to the reference pictures. I was just like paying attention to the floor plan at this point. And after this, I will go in and place some furniture, and you see me putting in like random doors and arches and stuff, and not all of these are things that I'm going to keep. They're just so that I have a reference of where things are gonna go. I need a placeholder of some kind so that I have an idea of like the layout and the scale of things. And yeah, so that little room that I just put doors on, that's going to be Heather's room. She gets her own little private porch because she is Heather. That little room at the back on the reference floor plan that I used, it's a garage, but obviously we don't have cars in this game, so I'm making a laundry room. And if you decide to download this house when it's finished and you don't want it to be laundry, you can make it whatever your heart desires. But I play with laundry in my game, even though that pack is bugged as all get out, because I like it. It's fun, and I like the aesthetic of the pack. I like the way that all the things in it look, and I like all the clothes too. Yeah, and all that furniture back there is just placement furniture. I've got a couch there so that I remember that that's where the living room is going to go, a table because that's where the dining area is going to go, and then I have a bank of counters because that is where I plan on putting the kitchen. And yes, those stairs, I don't think those are the stairs I ended up going with in the end, but those are the stairs that I needed to put there so that I knew where I kind of wanted the stairwell to be. And then yeah, I end up scooting the whole upper level closer to the front of the house later on, but this is basically this shape. And that's going to be Beth's bathroom, her office, and then this big room in the front is going to end up being her bedroom. There is also a loft space that's going to go up here, so the hallway is a sort of like catwalk loft moment. It's pretty cute, I think, but yeah, it's the first time I've ever built a loft in The Sims from scratch, or rather The Sims 4 from scratch. So it was fun to figure out. It took me maybe a little bit longer than it should have, but I had fun. And yeah, I think it turned out looking pretty good. I'm not really mad at the way that it turned out. And yeah, I'll do a walkthrough when this is all finished as well, by the way, so that you guys can see the whole thing. Obviously, if it's just the floor plan and the shell, it's not that exciting, but yeah, when it's all furnished, I will show it off properly. That's not even where the stairwell ends up being at the end of the day, because like I said earlier, I scoot the whole upper level forward later, and I also have to move the basement a couple of squares forward once I place that, and so the whole thing ends up being moved over like, I don't even know how many rows, like 3 or 4. And so the stairs up from the ground level end up being in the living room, and all the railings ended up needing to be replaced basically. Down here in the basement is where Lindsay's room is going to go. Like I said earlier, in the floor plan reference that I used, there was like a sitting area down here with a bar, and so I ended up keeping that because I thought that would be fun for them to have. And I also put a bathroom down here because I thought that it was unfair for the other girls to have bathrooms near their bedrooms and for Lindsay to not. And so I put some double doors down there to make her room look fancy and not so dungeon like. And I am planning on putting kind of a fancy spa bath in for her. And like I said, I end up scooting the basement forward a couple of squares, but that has no effect on the basement's layout. I just have to end up basically redoing the stairs on both of the upper levels, but that's fine. And here I am closing in all of the porches that I made not enclosed earlier because I didn't realize that they were fully closed off porches based on the reference pictures I was using. I almost put columns on this back porch, but as you guys can see in the picture, it's not columns, like it's a fully walled in porch, and so I just gave up and said, fine, I'll put some arches in and hope that the arches look correct and not odd. I end up going with some Jungle Adventure arches because they have some stones on the bottom, and I thought those looked cute. They also were the ones that had the best like swatch that matched our color scheme because I know the colors on the outside look kind of strange as I go forward, but I end up kind of keeping with this white, off-white and black color scheme. It's not exactly like the one that I have reference pictures of, but that's just because the pure white on that house in those reference pictures is it's a little bit too intense for me. I don't know. I don't like the way that pure white houses look. It's a little bit unsettling to me. So we went with an off-white instead because it just looked more comfortable and more approachable to me personally. And as you can see, with us being only a third of the way through this and I'm like just now starting to place windows, this took me a long time. This took me a little bit over an hour in real time to build, which I guess isn't the longest time in the world for a Sims house, but I have been exhausted this week. I went out of town last weekend and I still haven't really recovered from that. I didn't even go that far, but it was far enough to really throw me off my rhythm, and I've just been really tired. So sitting at my desk and building for an hour and a half was actually really tiring, you guys. So so I'm gonna end up uploading this house in two parts. This exterior bit you're seeing now, obviously this is part one, and then when I do furnishing and landscaping, that is going to be part two. I'm not going to make landscaping its own part because I think that that's a little bit excessive, but also if the furnishing takes me like, I don't know, another hour and a half or more, then I might have to because I don't really want to give you guys a video that's super duper long. I mean, this one is already longer than I thought it was going to be at 28 minutes. I mean, for a speed build, that's hardly a speed build, right? But whatever. I spent a long time trying to decide what windows to use. That was honestly a lot of the time that was eaten up was deciding which windows to use. I ended up using mostly get-together windows on this house, although there were a couple of seasons windows that I went with at different times as well, and those arched ones are base game, but I only used those on the porch because they don't have any glass on them, and that was obviously important so that the porches still look like porches. But get-together is kind of my go-to pack when I'm trying to make kind of a modern build, so it made sense to me to use those windows. And yeah, I had to move the porch over and then readjust how the bedroom upstairs was shaped because I, for some reason, built the porch off of the downstairs bedroom without even thinking about it. and then had to move it over. And yes, this thing was a pain to roof. Believe me, the roofing is very embarrassing to watch. When you see it, you will know what I'm talking about. It was such a pain for me for some reason. And like, I'm not claiming that I'm the best builder in the world. Far from it. Roofing has always been the bane of my existence. Ever since I played The Sims 2, putting a roof on the house, auto roof or no roof, you know what I mean? So the fact that there were like multiple levels and different shapes going on this one was a little bit of a challenge for me, but that's what it's all about. I can only get better if I challenge myself. I say about a game that I've been playing for years, literally a decade. Can you imagine playing this game for 10 years and still being as bad at it as me? Can you believe? Can you imagine? Anyway, so there is the front porch in its proper spot, and the front door that I ended up going with was a Seasons door. I ended up using Seasons doors throughout the entire house, so it's just cohesive like that, I guess. It wasn't really intentional, but it ended up being that way because all of the woods matched, honestly, and it fit that sort of modern southwestern aesthetic, like I was saying before. And I know that this concrete isn't an exact match to the stair color, but it's close, and it's pretty close to the color of concrete that's used in the reference pictures. I don't know if that's going to be accurate for you guys, but whatever. Color vision is subjective. I put a wall around the yard. I know in the reference pictures their yard is raised up off of the sidewalk and they have like steps down to it, but I really am not here for that. Terraforming this game gives me a headache. It gives me a migraine. I'm not going to do that to myself. You can't make me. So the closest we're going to get is a wall around the yard. You understand? That's what we're doing. So, yeah, wall around the yard to keep things at least close to the reference picture. And when I do landscaping, I'm going to go in and we're going to add like trees and topiaries and bushes and all that good stuff so that it is even closer. I used this cute mailbox rather than the boring one because I thought it matched the vibe. And the stair railing on this reference picture isn't really a railing, it's like a wall, so went with that one there, and then gave them a paved walkway. And then, I went into like full window mode and just needed to place all of the windows because, I don't know, it was freaky to me without windows. It was starting to look a little bit just like a box, so quickly went in and decided, okay, it's window time. And I did that big one first. Again, that's a Seasons window, but all of the smaller ones end up being a get together. So while I place these windows, let me tell you about this weekend. I went with my best friend to dog sit for a family friend of his, and that's it. Basically, we just hung out with this dog. It was super cozy. We watched The Last of Us show on HBO, which was fun. I have never played those games, but my friend is obsessed with them, so that was fun. And yeah, maybe I will play those games someday. Maybe not. I don't know. They're really sad. The show's really sad. I don't know if I'm strong enough. But it was fun. It was fun. And I might continue watching it. I haven't really decided yet. I am slow to pick up new shows, and this one is really good. I'm really impressed with it so far. Obviously, there are only 3 episodes at the time that I'm recording this, but I liked all 3 of them, and you can't say that about a lot of shows, or at least I can't, so, maybe I will keep watching it. Oh, yes, and here you see me struggling with the roof. The windows were a brief distraction for me before I realized that the roof needed to be dealt with. I wanted to put windows on all of the sides to, make it make sense to me, but the roof just ended up feeling like it was a more pressing issue because, I don't know, the windows on the front, okay, it looks like a house. Time to put the roof on so that it actually looks like a house, and then we'll add the other windows as like accessories, details later on after we figure out the hard part. The roof is a little bit haphazard. I will admit it's maybe not my best work, but it's also probably not my worst. I feel like I've probably created some uglier roofs in my day, so, you know, I'll take it. I will take it. And honestly, I have seen some pretty ugly roofs on actual houses, like in real life. So I feel like it could be a lot worse. I did feel a little bit like I was building a McMansion while I was at this, which is a little bit disturbing because, well, obviously it's like my least favorite kind of house. They're extremely ugly. So I didn't want to be building a McMansion, but that's kind of how it turned out. She's a little bit big and her roofs are a little bit not cute, but oh well. I think it matches my reference pictures, so really, what does that say about the house in my reference pictures? Actually, not necessarily the house that I built. No, I'm just kidding. My roofing skills could be better. Again, can you imagine being so bad at this game after playing it for as long as I have? Not. It's not embarrassing, I'll say that. I don't know. The roof came together at the end of the day. And honestly, once it's up on the gallery and it's yours, you can change it if you really want. If you think all these different levels of roof are not realistic or they're ugly, then be my guest, change them, because I was struggle busing the whole way through, friend, the whole way through. I think we are getting close to the end here after I do the windows. So I will let you know that the next video that I post will probably be a create a sim video again. I'm planning on doing another Total Drama Island moment. I haven't decided which group of friends is next, but rest assured it will be more Total Drama Sims. And after that will probably be the part 2 of this house where I do the furnishing and the landscaping. Again, I'm hoping for that video to be just one video all on its own so that the landscaping doesn't have to be yet a third video. I will try to keep it as brief as I possibly can with that one. And then after that, I was thinking that I would do a gameplay video of some kind. I am doing a history challenge for fun as just like one of the saves that I play on my off time. I've mentioned it a couple times, I think. And I think it would be fun to share it with you guys, so I think that that's what we're gonna do after I post the second half of this house. So for the next 3 weeks, that's the plan. We're gonna do create a sim, the second half of this house, and then I'll show you guys my prehistoric save, and you can see my prehistory sims. I have referred to them as caveman sims in the past, but that's not like entirely accurate because they're not your typical like cavemen TM. They don't live in caves and they don't wear skins. I've been playing in Sulani actually, so they're like ancient islanders kind of is the vibe, and that's been a lot of fun for me, and so I want to share my fun with you, and if you think it's boring then you can just skip that video. Oh yes, I almost forgot. After I did the windows on this side of the house, I went in and put in a chimney, and I struggle bust with this too because I couldn't figure out why it looked so wrong. Eventually I realized it was that it was too tall. So in the reference pictures, the chimneys do sort of peek up over the top of the roof, but in The Sims, I don't know, the proportions just aren't right, and so what I ended up doing was knocking the chimney back down to just one level and then using one of these chimney toppers to basically be the second level, that second little bit of height to bump it up over the top of the roof. So it's a little bit shorter, but I think that this looks so much more normal than the massive one that I had before. I don't know about you guys, but this one just looks better to me. Yeah, and I put some trim around the edge on this level just to make it look a little bit more finished. And there it goes. And on the inside, I do end up putting a fireplace in there. So there's going to be a fireplace in their kitchen, and I think that is just going to be so cozy and so cute. And oh yeah, I added a couple extra windows here and there because it just looked really dark to me. I don't know. There aren't a lot of windows on this reference photo house, so I just added a few here and there because I didn't want them to live in a cave. And also because, I don't know, it kind of bums me out when I'm like looking at the side of a house and there's not a single window, you know, or maybe there's like only one or two and they're really far away or something. I don't know. It just looks funny to me, and I know that the rooms inside are super dark, so that's a bummer. We need to get some natural light in here. I also added a little like side porch off of this other side of the house. There isn't one in the reference pictures. It's, I think, like a back door of some kind, but I wanted another door out to the yard, and I wanted it to sort of match the reference pictures, so we are gonna end up doing, I think, a little garden situation out here. I'm thinking either a flower garden or a vegetable garden of some kind. We'll have this door that leads out to it. And I did put stairs on all three sides of this little porch, but I'm not sure if I will end up keeping it. It honestly depends on how much space I end up wanting to devote to the garden. So if you see it look like this and you're like, ew, that's nasty, don't worry, it probably won't stay that way if I feel like it's taking too much of my flower garden space. So rest assured, I won't be prioritizing the massive stairs over actual yard area. Yeah, and then I added the other windows to the living space, and those were really important because that is what lights up that loft area. I did end up needing to scoot the basement because this is also when I noticed that I had moved my whole staircase without realizing it, and so I needed to move the other staircase so that they still lined up properly. And that meant that I had to scoot, like, yeah, every single room in the basement over just like 3 or 4 tiles. But yes, I adjusted that and fixed all the bathroom sizes as well. Didn't want to rob Lindsay of any of her square footage, and got rid of that like extraneous railing there that was just left over, and that wall. Although I almost kept the wall, and I'll tell you why. I almost kept it because I was thinking of making a sort of like desk office area for Heather, and the bedroom for her that I made is kind of small, so I might end up making that corner a little like nook for Heather so that she has a space. But here's why I hesitated. I hesitated to do that because when I first started the build and I used Motherload a bunch of times to get money to build with, I completed Heather's aspiration. And so now I'm not sure what I'm actually going to do with her when I play in this save. So if I make a little desk space for her, I mean, what for? To do what with? So, I don't know. Maybe that's something that y'all should let me know on. Like, tell me what I should do with Heather now that she completed her fabulously wealthy aspiration. Like, what's next for her? You guys should let me know. Comment down below, and maybe that's what I'll do. It may be even likely that that's what I'll do because I'm really indecisive. So, high chance that I just do what you tell me. Oh yeah, and then I added some windows in the stairwell as well because it made the house look more balanced from the outside, and also, yeah, lit up that loft area. It was really important to me that I got a lot of natural light in there. Obviously, I'll probably put a big statement light piece in there as well, but the natural light is important to me too. I think it ends up making the game look more well lit in general, even if it is just like the minutest of differences. And I know my lighting in my game isn't the best, but I picked this lot when I placed them like weeks ago when I first made them in cast, so this is the lot that they're on. I don't know what to say. Again, when it's finished, you can download it off of the gallery and you can put it on any lot you want, the one with the best lighting in the game. And that's it. That is the floor plan of the house. I haven't uploaded it to the gallery yet. When it is finished and furnished, I will upload it and you can download it with all of the furnishings and final edits that I do to it. Then, as always, give this video a like if you liked it. Subscribe to me here. Subscribe to me on my essay channel. You can follow me on Instagram if you want. And I'll see you again next week. Bye!